and welcome to my latest council recap, which this time I'm filming out the front of the new Marrickville Library. This library is a great example of what happens when all the different parts of council work together to deliver a wonderful community outcome. Unfortunately, the same thing can't be said for our last meeting, and here are a few of the lowlights. First up was the controversial adoption of our new Tree DCP, which are the planning controls that apply to trees on private land. Now, the plan I thought we were going to approve would have made it easier for residents to remove some trees that were within 50 centimetres of their houses. And the whole plan was designed to strike the right balance between easing up on some of the heavier restrictions, but also making sure we protect our urban canopy in the inner west. Now, this plan was on public exhibition for months and received close to 500 submissions. Us councillors knew about it well before then, and we've had several chances to make amendments. But instead of changing it before it went out to consultation, Councillor Victor Macri tabled nearly 4 A4 pages of amendments on the night, which the Sydney Morning Herald later said he'd worked on with the Mayor, Darcy Byrne. These amendments rewrote big parts of the plan, including expanding the area where trees can be removed without council approval to 3 metres away from any building on private land. In the inner west, that could pretty much be every tree. These were just one of the changes they presented that weakened tree protections. I didn't see any of them before they were tabled at the meeting, and neither did the Greens. That's why I moved instead that we adopt the DCP as drafted, as this was the one that had gone through the proper process. But in the end, the only councillors that voted for this were me and the Greens. Now, I know there are residents who've had big problems with trees on their land, but the vast majority of our urban canopy in the inner west depends on private trees. And my concern is that by weakening the controls too much, we'll lose far too many trees, particularly as there's no real obligation to replace them. More to the point, you and our community have had no chance to review these changes and have your say. A rescission motion to overturn this decision has already been filed, and this will come back to our council meeting on the 24th of September. Labor's environmental weirdness continued when they amended a motion for council to make a submission to the Parliamentary Inquiry on Energy to remove references to supporting a phase out of coal. Now, I would have thought this was fairly uncontroversial, especially given our council has declared a climate emergency. But that didn't stop the debate from descending into a screaming match when this was pointed out. You can probably take a guess at who was doing the screaming, but if you want to see the whole embarrassing display, it's on the webcast. And finally, that time-wasting motion about building a Trump wall around the inner west died on the floor after even the councillor who wrote it admitted that it had no merit whatsoever. For what it's worth, I did try and get it declared out of order, as the Mayor is supposed to do this with any motion that would be unlawful, but he refused. See you at the next council meeting on Tuesday the 10th of September, which will be dedicated to the election of the Mayor and Deputy Mayor.